Hey, it's Rich
And Taylor.
with Town Wine and Spirits. So we're here today to talk about wine.
Absolutely. So we have a bunch of 2020 vintage Bordeaux coming in, which we're really, really excited about. It is a stellar vintage.
Yeah.
And so we decided to open the 2020 Cantenac Brown, coming from Margaux, to get an idea of what sort of it's all about and what to expect from the vintage.
Yeah. So this was relatively warm, hot vintage, correct? Or at least during the summer months. So it has it's got a great reputation so far. Or at least,
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody's really excited by the vintage. Sort of calling it a classic style vintage where you're going to have really good fruit concentration, but also really good acidity. So they're really all about balance in this. Oh, I like that. That's nice. I liked it. So you're getting really good balance, and although you're getting a big full drinking experience, I'm really excited by this. I had one of the earlier 2020s that we got in maybe last week. And I was really excited by that, so I'm really interested to see what this is like.
All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to give you our initial impressions now that we decanted it. And then we're going to come back in a little while once it's got some air and it's opened up a bit more and give you a little more insight into the wine.
Great. So I'm a big fan of Margaux as the whole region. This is coming in at 67% Cabernet, 33% Merlot, so 2/3, 1/3.
Yep.
And it's been aged for 12 to 15 months, all French oak, 60% new.
Yeah, and then the 40% is just second year wood.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So yeah, and so what's really interesting about Margaux as he pours this is it's the warmest appellation in the left bank. So you get more ripeness, you get more concentration, and also they generally pick the earliest there because of the ripeness. What's also really interesting about it is it has the highest concentration of classified estates from the 1855 classification system, coming in at 21, which is a lot.
This is where your chateau.
That's where my chateau is, yeah, which is just south of Cantenac Brown. But the reality is Cantenac Brown is a really good estate. It's a third growth, and we've got this on the shelf for $75. And let's see what our initial impressions are.
So immediately you can see the rich dark color in that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's full throttle. There's a lot of concentration. There's a lot of fruit, but it's not like sappy. It's not sweet. It's not that like California style. It's more brooding. It's a little bit more powerful.
Really dark berries.
I definitely get the wood. The wood's definitely there, so that the presence of that 60% new wood's definitely coming through on my initial impression.
But French oak is not overtaking.
No, certainly not. No, but I definitely get like a baking spice that's sort of riding along with all that deep dark fruit.
Wow. That's got some good concentration.
Wow, that's got there's definitely that grippy tannin, which is definitely one of the things they talked about with the 2020 vintage is that you're getting really complete tannins and a grippy sense of power behind it, which you're no doubt you're getting. This is fairly closed right now.
Oh yeah,
which is no doubt it's a young wine.
Tight.
It just arrived, but all the pieces are there. This is going to be pretty special wine, which is probably why it got a bunch of really, really good scores. I can see that. Was it 97 from Venice, 96 from Dunnick, 95 to 97 from Wine Enthusiast?
97 from Wine Enthusiast.
95 to 97, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Sample.
But actually, for the initial approach or the initial taste here, the balance is just beautiful. The balance between the fruit, that integrated wood for sure is what's helping it. A little bit of that tannic structure still there. So
there's definitely tannic structure there. There's no doubt.
Hopefully the decanter here, give it some time to really kind of open up a little bit.
Yeah. So as we let this open up, do you drink a lot of Bordeaux?
Not as much as I probably
should
want to should.
So
that's a better way. Like I keep forgetting about it. That's right or maybe wrong way to look at this, but it's amazing. I go back to Bordeaux and I'm always like, oh my god, that is so good.
Absolutely.
That's exact. I'm like, and then it's like for some reason, maybe just because we have so many selections in the store, you start bouncing around. And when you come back to it, you're like, wow, that is so just classic, well made.
Absolutely. So what I think is interesting is that we have that sort of old school historical view of Bordeaux, which is they need a long time in the cellar. You need to age them for a long time. They're not ready to go sort of on the get-go. So you tend to go to things that are going to drink better in their youth because that's what's available. Right. And what's interesting is having had the one the other day and then having this one, I find that might be slightly antiquated. I'm not saying that you don't age this wine because you do age it.
Oh, this could easily sit.
But the fruit concentration is more prevalent than maybe in the past. There's a fullness to the wine. I think that sort of brings it into an earlier drinking window. Now, there's no doubt this is going to age for a bunch of years. You could sit this for, they say 2 to 3 years and 2 to 3 decades, not 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 decades.
Yeah.
But I think that means it's going to evolve and get better. But I still think it's actually doing pretty well. Now, we'll find out in 45 minutes how this is doing.
Just in a couple of minutes, trying to really kind of swirl this in the glass, get a little more air in there, I'm just starting to notice so many more of like secondary notes are coming out, especially in the nose. Definitely, that wood is definitely, I think, to me, starting to open up and expand a little bit. So I'm getting a lot more of that extra secondary notes than just the fruit.
I also find that now, with some air, there's a slight lifted note also in the nose. It's getting a little bit brighter.
Yes.
So I really like that. I don't know, what's the alcohol in this? It's probably higher than I really ultimately think. 13.5.
All right.
Okay, that's actually, I really like that.
I was
gonna say, I was afraid that it was going to be like 14.5 or 15, and it was just hiding it really well. But 13.5 is a very, very good number. And that also means it's got good acidity, good freshness, and it's going to age well.
Yeah, that is really nice. Holy. Wow.
All right. Let's come back in a little while.
All right, sounds good.
All right. As it's kind of opening up a little bit, like you get vanilla, you get a little baking spice, you get some dark fruit. There is a berry component that's coming out, like a fresh berry, but not necessarily like cherry or blackberry. It's like there's a bit of like, raspberry, strawberry that's kind of like lingering in the background.
It's a little bit more of the red berry kind of than it is dark berry.
I don't want to say there's a minerality to it, but there's definitely an earthy component to there that's kind of lingering underneath too.
You say earthy, I'm almost gonna say more like field, forest. Like, I don't know, like it's
yeah.
To me, it's slightly bigger than like or more open. I don't want to say not quite herbal. It's not like mountain flowers.
No,
not that direction. But
I think there is an herbal component though, which makes sense because Cabernet is going to give you that.
Yeah.
There's also like a meaty like a smoked meat component under, like just ever so slightly underneath.
A little beef jerky.
A little beef jerky.
All right, so it's been about 45 minutes or so. So we're coming back, seeing what a little air might have done to the wine.
Now, to be fair, we also have been drinking our glasses for about 45 minutes. So we've sort of got a chance to really get to know the wine in our glasses. It's opened up. And I think we both agree that this is pretty damn special. It's really good.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
It is really interesting. Again, we've been drinking it, so it helps to kind of evaluate it over that time and really spend a little time with it. But there's really a fantastic balance between, as we've said, I mean, this like little trifecta of great fruit concentration, tannic structure,
yes,
but still lots of energy and a beautiful kind of little finish with that acid on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and
that's actually what is sort of one of the hallmarks of this vintage, is that sort of really good harmony between those three sort of key components.
Yeah.
I think this really shows that beautifully. Well, you're getting really good concentration, but what's happened is now the wine at this point, 45 minutes later, it's more seamless. All the tannins have softened enough that they've integrated really well. The fruit has both gotten darker and brighter at the same time,
which is interesting, almost like conflicting to some extent, but it is amazing how beautiful the nose is. To me, that dark berry is so prevalent, but it's lifted to, so that brightness that John was referring to. But I'm also, to me, there is a better, that tannic strut is coming down, but its secondary notes are coming clearly out, which absolutely makes more sense, of course, but
makes sense. So I definitely get sort of a little bit of a floral note. I get a little bit of an iron note. I think there's an underlying herbaceousness to the wine.
Yeah. Iron note, funny, in our 45 minutes, I definitely got that. Now it's starting to come down a little bit. The herbal components, which I was calling, I think, herbal minus.
Yeah, herbal minus.
So I was trying to figure out a good way to turn.
It's an echo of herbal.
Way better terminology than minus, but it seems to. it's just a beautiful bouquet.
And the thing that I find interesting is that it's got concentration, it's got strength, it's got purity, but there's really great energy to the wine.
On the palate, it's so powerful. It's there, balanced. I love the finish.
It's got a silkiness to it too. I love the finish.
It's drawing me right back
Yeah.
in for another glass. Like I want that next sip because
Absolutely.
of there's definitely still a little bit of the tannic structure, but boy, that finish is just beautiful.
So I think this is. I'm glad we opened this bottle for the 2020 vintage because I think it really hits all the pieces. It's a beautifully made bottle of wine. There's no doubt. I think people will really like it. I think it'll also excel with food. Get a little fat with that. We'll
Or a little time.
Yeah, we'll soften out those a little bit extra that energy at the end and just kind of round it out some. But this is pretty special. This is awesome, actually.
Good choice.
Good choice. Thank you. Thank you. So if you like our video, if you could just hit the subscribe button and follow us as we explore the better side of wine and spirits, like the 2020 Cantenac Brown and tequila and scotch and bourbon and all the fun stuff we like to drink.
All kinds of
we'd highly appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for joining us.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Cheers.